Good morning. It's Sunday morning. Yeah, Sunday. Oh man, the scale was not good to me yesterday, boy. Whew. Talk about I haven't had a fluctuation this big in quite a while. So I went up 4 pounds. So we live to keep going, right? That's all there is to it. It doesn't really. There's nothing really I can necessarily pinpoint that was outside the norm that I wouldn't normally do on any particular day, right? So pick it up and keep going, and we wait for the next week. But it's always been a dramatic approach when it comes to goals in the last almost 7 years at this point. Every time I'm close, it's always this get really, really close and then back up. Get really, really close and back up, and each time when I get really close, it's a little bit further than there was previous, right? So it's so funny how I can pinpoint exactly, and I can essentially predict what will happen each week based on every other goal approach. When it was 175 was the goal, this exact same thing happened. When 150 was the goal, this exact same thing happened. 125, all of them. Every single charm came with its dance. The dance with the goal, right? And eventually the goal was mine. And so the one thing I can say is basically now it's steadfast, but it was learned throughout the process, is that just because the scale goes up doesn't mean it's a reflection of the work you did. Just keep going. And when you can finally have the confidence in the work you do, because you have to have confidence in what you're doing in order to, because nobody who doesn't have confidence in what they're doing, never in their right mind will look at a gain and say, all right, we'll run it back, let's do it again. Nobody will ever do that. And I'm telling you that you have to have such confidence in what you're doing that you can stare at a 4-pound gain and say, it's it, we'll keep going. There's nothing I need to change, I can keep going. To have the blind faith and to have such faith in what you do that you're able to stand steadfast on what you do. And know that still fluctuations come. I haven't had a fluctuation this big in a while, but hey, is what it is. And we keep going, because you know what? If no one does the work, it's not gonna, if you don't do the work, no one's gonna do it for you. And if it's really what you want, then you gotta go and do it. And this is basically, I was kind of referencing yesterday, when you're sitting there and you're caught up in the emotion of what you don't like about the result. The one thing you're not doing, working. When you're caught up in the enjoyment of the result, the one thing you're not doing, working. All of it is, whether you're like indifferent. Really, the emotion doesn't matter. It's all about keeping it consistent, keeping it going, and knowing that. Stepped on something, but anyway, knowing that the journey isn't perfect, and it's never going to be. So there's never going to be one thing in particular that causes a fluctuation. And the faster you realize that, and the faster you get back to what you know works, right? The better off you be, right? And the trying to figure out what you're doing shows both also that you're not sure you're doing it properly, right? So if you don't have confidence in what you do, here's what you fall back on: fundamentals. Fundamentals is the foundation of everything, right? So you're going to, number one, start tracking your food. Number two, start weighing and measuring that food. Number three, you're going to start moving. And you're going to do those things every day the same way you brush your teeth. If you aren't doing those things, you'll never have confidence in what you're doing. You'll only assume confidence. And then when things go wrong, the real falling apart moment will happen every single time. That's basically how it will go for you all of your journey. But when that work becomes 97, 98% accurate, when you're tracking 97, 98% of the food you eat, when you're weighing and measuring 97, 98% of the food you eat, all of this adds to the confidence that when a scale fluctuation comes, you can stare it in the face and say, I'm holding steadfast to what I've been doing. And that's really a more powerful growth than anything else that comes from this, is to be so confident in what you do and to hold steadfast. Now, then there's those situations where people say, I'm on a plateau, I'm doing all these things and it's not working. These plateaus, as they call them, are perfect opportunities for you to educate yourself. And I stand on this, and because I don't tell you to do anything I haven't done, right? I don't sit here and say, you do this, but then never do it. That's not what I do. That's not my style. Every time I've had the opportunity for what somebody would call a plateau, every time I've had that opportunity, I've done the exact same thing each time. I've gone to something I don't know, grab something about nutrition and read it. And you know what? Every single time I did that, every single time I picked up a book, every single time I read something that was outside of WW in regards to nutrition, every time I did that, I ended up with questions. And you know where the answers to those questions were? It was in the book. So, and at the end of the book, every time I read one, all the question was at that point was, what is the plan to implement these new things I've learned into my life? And what that does is cause growth. And then the people around you look like, are you even following plan anymore? Because this is not, sometimes the things that you're doing aren't necessarily something that people in Weight Watchers rooms talk about, right? Because everything's on the table, no one ever talks about sacrificing what you know is an anchor in your life, because everything's on the table. Sometimes in life, you have to make the decision that if the anchor is holding you in place, you're never going to get to where you're going to go. You have to cut the chain of the anchor and move forward, make the sacrifice necessary and move forward. This journey is about growth, about becoming the person not only that achieves the scale goal you dream to achieve, but to become the person that naturally keeps it because they don't have the same hangups that you do. You've made the sacrifices, you've grown, the attachments aren't there anymore. People will perfectly live in a world where they think it's just a normal part of life to have attachments to things like this. Or you can do the hard thing and grow from them and no longer have those attachments, achieve the scale goal you want, and never struggle about having those kind of hang-ups, those things where you have little addictions here and there and everywhere. Those things don't have a hold on you anymore. They aren't a normal part of life to be addicted to things and to depend on them and all these things. That's not a normal part of life, but society normalizes it because everybody's got them and they don't want to believe that there's something wrong. Instead, you do the hard thing, you change your life, you become the person you were always meant to be, and in the process, you achieve that scale goal and you keep it. That's the goal. That's really what it is. It's Sunday, it's the Lord's Day, it's family day, it is football Sunday. Whatever you're doing today, enjoy your family, enjoy your worship, enjoy your football, but most of all, enjoy your Sunday. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.